Insulating the office really is the next stage, and really it's looking at how I insulate it to make it as warm as possible, so that I'm comfortable working out here with low heat. So I've got an energy saving heater coming via the internet, and I need as much insulation as possible. From what I've read online, as much insulation as possible will help support a warm environment. I'm going for triple insulation really. I'm going for, as you see, the bubble wrap with the foil on the outside, some sort of insulation. For this particular section I'm looking at recycled plastic loft insulation, and then I'm going to have plasterboard on the walls, and on the floor I'm going for some chipboard loft panel flooring. So as you see here, I've got some battens going down, 2.5 centimetres by 5 centimetres. Bits of batten I had left over from a roof being done last year, just offcuts really. I'm laying them across the office, as you can see, from left to right, and I'm going to take them right down. I'm not quite finished yet, but you get the idea, especially at the end. So they've got something here for the loft boards to rest on. They're going to go across this way. Before I put the loft boards down, I'm going to have insulation, the metal bubble wrap insulation with the recycled plastic on top, and then I'm going to put the loft boards on top of that, cover the whole floor area, because you lose about 25% of your heat through the floor. You get damp coming up. I've also got the damp proofing plastic underneath the floor, then the thick wooden floor, then the metal bubble wrap, then the recycled plastic, then the loft boards, probably some lino and then some carpet or rug later on. Keep it really nice and warm. I'm going to do the insulation myself now. I was going to get someone to help me, but I'm going to do it myself. I've gone for as low CO2 as possible, although the plastic stuff isn't great. You do get the insulation. I've gone for recycled plastic, and I've also gone, and you'll see later on, I've gone for a wool mix, a wool 80% sheep's wool with polyester. It's not the cheapest, it's not as cheap as glass wool, but I've done research online, and the CO2 for the making of wool is really low, really low. And also sheep's wool takes out any toxins from the environment, and it can make your working environment much more nicer. It can soak up chemicals like formaldehyde in the atmosphere from any kind of glue products. You do get some glue products within chipboard, so it helps to create a really nice atmosphere. The recycled plastic is very low CO2 emissions to be made, so that's really good. And in terms of the keeping things warm, it's really great. So I'll put some links at the end of the video at the bottom, the sites I've used to get some research about, but I think I've tried to go for a bit of balance really. I'm using recycled materials left over from a previous job. I've got some loft boards, I've got recycled plastic loft insulation, and I've gone for AirTech and multi-purpose insulation wrap to give as much insulation as possible, so I'm not using so much heat, and I'm keeping it really warm, but also trying to reduce any kind of chemicals in the environment. Right, coming to the end stages of the flooring. What we've got, you've got the battens going along here. I've tried to put the battens in between the floor loft boards, so it gives some support, and then putting in between each batten the insulation, the bubble wrap metal stuff with the plastic bottle insulation, and then putting another layer of the insulation on top to make it really warm. Especially this area here, so my desk area is going to be over here, so I want to make sure this area is especially warm. The heat is this side as well, so I make sure the heater really keeps the heat in. So as you can see, I've done most of it so far, just really going along, putting the battens down, putting the insulation down, cutting, putting the plastic bottle insulation in, and then putting the bubble wrap on top, working along. You're getting to the fiddly bit now. All I'm doing is just cutting sections like this, cutting sections, putting them together, numbering them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got a few little sections at the end there. I'm just cutting really with the jigsaw and fitting together like a puzzle, making sure the battens are there, and then I'm nailing the battens down, just really to give it some security, because I don't want it moving around too much. So just for an example of how to insulate the floor, I've got the bubble wrap, silver side down towards the external area to protect it more, putting the batten so it goes under the batten just to secure it a little bit. You don't want to put too much under the battens because, of course, the pressure will pop the insulation. It will no longer be a particularly great insulation. It's the air, isn't it? The air and the metal that keeps the insulation in place. So then some of the plastic bottle insulation in there. Try and get it between the battens because otherwise it will push the floorboard up. And then putting another layer of bubble wrap over the top, tucking it in slightly smaller, but it really cushions. You've got air in there, you've got the air, and that's what traps, keeps the heat in. And then putting a section of the flooring on top, securing in, making sure it's nice and secure. You don't want it wobbling around when you're moving around, but the batten's in between, so you've got a little section of batten over each side. When you feel it's secure, then nail or screw down. I am using nails because it means if I have to take it up in the future, I can quickly just lift it up. Screws are probably a better option, they get more purchase. But at the moment, the nails seem to be working really, really well. So there we go. That is the floor insulation. I'm going to carry on to the rest of this area here. And then I've got a little section at the back. I'm going to cut a little bit of wood just to go in the back there. And then I've got an area skirting board on there as well, so it hasn't going to be too neat. And the electrics are going to go in as well. As you can hear now, it's really solid, and the sound already, it's like becoming more soundproof. We've got right against the battens of the shed, and the plaster board will come right down, right up to, you can see there, right up to this side here. And then I'm going to put maybe some skirting board around some parts of it, not the whole thing, but some parts of it. And then it'll make it nice and warm.